Well, hey there. I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. Today we are talking about Voices.com and Voice123. They're the two top pay-to-play marketplaces for voiceover work on the whole of the internet as of this video. And I often get asked which one is better, which one's right for me, how do they work, what are the differences between the two, and are they worth the price of admission? So we're going to talk about all that stuff in a little bit more in as much detail and brevity as I can muster. Before I dive into all the details, however, if you would like me to take a look at some of your own voiceover work and you're willing to let me share my thoughts and feedback in a gracious and supportive manner here on this channel, there's a form down below. I'll take a look and I'm going to be offering feedback to folks in videos coming up. As of now, it's a first come, first serve thing, just a 1 to 2 minute sample. But if that's something you're interested in, check the form out, send me some audio, and we'll get rolling. It may change in the future, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, drop me a line and I'll help you out as soon as I can. So, Voices.com versus Voice123. A big difference between the two is the subscription cost. Voices.com, they ask a flat $500 annual subscription fee. In exchange for that, you get a profile and you get access to any audition that matches the demos that you upload to your profile. I have a video going into more detail about how that works elsewhere on this channel. If you're interested, check that out. In addition to that subscription fee, any job you book, they take a 20% commission from the total cost of your job. And in exchange for that, they do a lot of the sort of project flow facilitation. It all takes place natively on Voices.com. Voice123, on the other hand, they have a tiered membership system. So if we go down here, we can see all the available tiers going from free $99 all the way up to $5,000 a year. And the reason for these tiers is essentially the more you pay, the earlier you get access to auditions. In other words, the folks that are paying $5,000 a year are getting access to auditions before anybody else. They get first crack at them, and rightfully so for the price tag, I think, provided it matches their profile. If they don't book it, if they aren't right for the job, if they pass on it entirely, it goes down to the next tier, and the next, and the next, and the next, and so on, until you get down to the free folks, of which there are about 100,000 almost. And all that means is that essentially, if you want to receive enough auditions, in my opinion, for it to be worth your time and money, you gotta pay into a higher tier. Now, the difference here is Voice123 doesn't take a commission. So the full job cost budget goes straight to you. And it's a reason why a lot of seasoned pros prefer Voice123 over Voices.com. Now let's talk about how you are sent auditions. I touched on it briefly, but on both sites, you post demos of your work, your past work, what fits your voice to your profile. So here on Voices.com, you can see I've got a lot of different demos for the different things that fit me. And each demo, if I tag my voice as warm, informative, kind, something like that. And a client posts a job that they want a warm voice, or an informative voice, or a kind voice, or all three or a combination therein, I receive that audition on Voices.com no matter what. I'll get a crack at it, same as everybody else who's paid a subscription. Voice123, on the other hand, because of that tiered system, if you're down in the free bracket and you match a job perfectly, there's a high probability you will never see that audition, meaning you got to pay higher. But it's the same deal as far as the demos. You can see I've got a bunch of different demos here on my profile, and each are tagged in a specific way. And that just means that if a client posts something on there, I'll get a crack at it once it's my turn in line. So I'm not going to get it immediately unless I'm paying top dollar, essentially. As far as the quality of jobs that you will be offered, It's pretty equal. In fact, both sites, when I was active on both sites, I haven't been for a while now, but I would see more often than not the same job posted in both places, meaning clients are shopping around looking for the best option, the best price, etc. And all that's to say is that if you choose one or the other, you'll be seeing a lot of the same jobs that you would on the other site. And the prices and fees, the rates of the jobs that you can audition for are pretty good in both sites, at least in my experience. As far as the job workflow, this is another big difference between the two. As I mentioned, Voices.com, any job that you're hired for, the whole client interaction takes place on Voices.com. And that's what the 20% commission fee goes to. But it also provides you with a few benefits, I think. Firstly, you don't have to worry about negotiating contracts. You don't have to worry about file delivery. You don't have to worry that they're not going to pay because everything's paid up front. You don't have to worry about invoicing. It's paid directly to you after a certain period or after the files are approved by the client. In addition to all that, if something goes awry, Voices.com, provided you've done everything in an upstanding way on your end, and if the client goes awry in some fashion or the job just doesn't go the way you expect, the people at Voices.com have been really responsive when I've had issues in the past, which have been very, very rare, but they've helped me out pretty darn quickly. So that's sort of what the 20% commission goes to. Voice123, on the other hand, any job you book on that site, you are responsible for the whole client interaction, whole client workflow. Essentially, you got to get the contract signed. You got to make sure that you're communicating with your client. You got to invoice them properly. You got to track them down for payment. All of those things are both pros and cons. One, it means that you have a lot more touch points with the client, which in a customer service sense means you just interact with them more. You get to know them more personally. They get to know you more personally. In my experience, that tends to lead to more return work when you have more touch points, more check-ins, more conversations. And when that's all on you to facilitate, it becomes better. Now, the difference between those two is I think that for folks who are starting out, you may feel a bit fish out of water if all of that is on you to start off with, which makes me think that maybe in this regard, Voices.com is more beginner friendly because they help you in a lot of ways. Voice123 will still help you in certain fashions, but a lot of it falls on your shoulders in terms of operating a project workflow. So now let's talk about your profile visibility, meaning how easy it is for clients to discover you on these sites. Okay, now let's talk about your profile visibility, meaning how easy it is for clients to discover you and hire you. On Voice123, unfortunately, your profile visibility is somewhat dictated by how often your profile is liked and how often your auditions are liked, meaning clients put you on a short list and thought about potentially hiring you. Now, in my experience as a professional voiceover artist for some years now, that is completely out of your control and can come down to any number of factors. People who are more talented, more versatile, more in their niche may get liked more often, but you may have a bad month. You may have a bad couple of months. And essentially what that means, the reason why that's in place is to limit you from just auditioning for everything. They want you to audition for jobs that you are right for. Now, the reason why I think that's difficult and challenging, particularly when you're trying to find a foothold on Voice123 or develop your career as a beginning voiceover artist, it can make it daunting and honestly somewhat deflating when you're looking at bottom 50%, bottom 10% of voiceover actors when you're just out there trying. Which is why I think in this regard, Voice123 is more suited, in my personal opinion, to folks who know what jobs are right for them, where they might have a really solid shot at booking, are more confident in their skills. And I don't think it's a great place to try stuff out and develop, at least less so than voices.com. Now, do I think that that's impossible on Voice123 to just try stuff, go in as a beginner and just go for it? Absolutely not. I think you can totally go in there blind and just charge ahead and figure it out as you go. I just personally, in all honesty, found seeing this on my profile every day, bottom 50%, bottom 10%, really morally or mentally challenging for me to deal with. Now, voices.com, as I mentioned, with the subscription thing, if you fit a job, you will receive access to the audition, and you're not penalized in terms of your profile visibility, your ratings, whether or not you book the job, whether or not the client shortlists you, because again, that comes down to so many factors, which is why I think voices.com in this regard is a great way to develop and start out, more so than Voice123, again, in my personal opinion. I kind of touched on it there, but which of these two sites is right for you? Like I just said, Voice123, I think, is really well suited if you know what your voice is suited for, you know your niche, you have somewhat of a body of work, just so that you have sort of a springboard diving in. I also think the price of admission on Voice123 being slightly higher in order to get like an effective amount of auditions. Again, it's just, I think, better suited for folks who are a little bit more seasoned generally so. Voices.com, on the other hand, I think is great for both beginners and folks who are well into their careers. A lot of people have feelings about the 20% commission fee. I personally don't take issue with it because I just consider voices.com sort of, that's their agent fee almost. And I negotiate my contracts on the site to account for that. So I don't personally have too much of an issue for it. So there you go. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you like this stuff and you find it helpful and you think others might as well, if you wouldn't mind clicking the little buttons down below, it helps other folks find us here. And if you want to support me directly, you can just buy me a coffee, which I always appreciate. Until the next one, be well, and I will see you there. Toodles.